Hi, welcome to the Secret Wargamer channel. It's been a while since I did a video review, but I've been playing a cracking game for the last few months, off and on. It's called Barbarossa To Berlin. It's a TED racer game, and as its name suggests, it covers World War II from the start of Barbarossa through to the eventual fall of Berlin. It's a very enjoyable game, shares a lot of its DNA with Paths of Glory, so it's a card-driven game and is really, I guess, like a World War II version of Paths of Glory. It's had some mixed reviews. I think the first edition had some issues around some of the rules and some of the map, I believe, but the second edition that I have is very good indeed. And I'd just like to show you some of the components and talk through some of the game mechanics. Okay, so here's the map. It's all set up and I've been playing for a while. As you can see, it starts in the west with France, has North Africa, goes right across through Turkey, Greece, etc., and the Soviet Union. The lighting's not too great in here, so apologies if this is a bit grainy. The game I've been playing, and probably not been playing very well, is now in the spring of 1943, and the Soviets have just launched a massive offensive to push the Axis back from the positions they had around Moscow. As you can see, it's a sort of space or point-to-point type map with connecting lines. The dark lines, you can see are normal links, communications. The blue dotted lines are connections that cross rivers. So that affects combat as you would normally expect. The scale of the game is 3 months per turn, approximately. Each turn is broken down into 6 action rounds, which is where you get the chance to play your strategy cards. I have some pictures of those that I'll include in a moment. Those of you familiar with card-driven games, it follows a pretty standard format. You have a card. Let's see if I can show an example. It has a card. You'll see in the top left-hand corner there a number. It's a 5 that allows you to spend on operations. Next to it, I don't know if you can make it out, there's a black 4 in a grey box. That represents 4 replacement points for the Germans, and 2 represents 2 for the Axis. So you can choose to play that card for a number of things. You can either issue the foul blue command, in which case the card is then taken out of play, and it allows you to get certain advantages as the German. You can attack certain squares on the map. You can add combat, activate spaces for combat, and I think it gives a die roll modifier. Or you can use it for operations, and that's how I think I played this card. Yeah, otherwise it wouldn't still be in play. The cards come in different sort of shapes and colours. Excuse my dodgy video there. So you can see this one, for example, is a yellow card. The asterisk on there by the name represents, indicates that the card is taken out of play when it's been used. In this case, it's great for replacing Soviet fronts, infantry fronts, with mechanised fronts. And believe me, they make a huge difference. And you'll notice that the operations point here is in a yellow box. So that means you can play this card as an event, and then you can spend operations by moving the units or attacking with the units you've just taken as reinforcements. So under the right circumstances, a very powerful card to have. So you'll see cluttered over my turn record chart, you'll see there, like I say, one turn represents 3 months, so they broadly fall into the seasons. You'll see a number of small little squares. One says Speer or Sword or US build-up, etc. Those represent events with a longer influence on the game. Something else to point out on the cards. So in this one, Hitler takes command, and it's a prerequisite for playing other cards. So you can't play Totala Krieg as an event, which is a card that gives takes away the Germans' ability to get an automatic victory, but it gives them 20 victory points. So it also enables the play of the Foul Blue and the Citadel cards and so forth. So there's a few of those, and they do have quite an influence on the game. Unfortunately, this, as I say, the lighting is a bit bad in here, and it doesn't do the map justice. I think it's beautifully illustrated. I had a bit of a disappointment at first because the playing area, the map, is actually a paper. It's not a card, so you have to be careful with it. But having played it a few times, I suspect it'll actually stand the test of time with a degree of care. So what else to say? You'll see the units here. The large units are fronts for the Russians, and for the Germans are armies. The two Panzer armies here are on their reverse side, so they've taken losses. And now losses are, if you're familiar with Paths of Glory, you'll either agree with me or disagree, but I found the concept of how you apply losses a bit confusing. I've finally got used to it now. Basically, the units, if you read from left to right, so looking at this Soviet unit, the 5 is its combat strength, 3 is its loss factor, and 4 is its movement. And basically both sides will tally up the combat factors of units in a battle. You'll apply, roll a dice each, and apply the results to a combat results table. Now that tells you how many loss points each side has to take. And if, for example, the defender was to lose 3 points, then you would simply, in this case, flip it over or take it away as it's already reduced. When an army is destroyed in that manner, it gets replaced with a core size unit. You have to take as much of the loss as you can without exceeding it. Okay, so if that loss was 4 and that Panzer army was the only unit there, it would take 3 hits. I would replace it with my Panzer Corps from my reserve box if I have one, and I would then flip that Panzer Corps 1 step. Okay, to actually no, I wouldn't, because the Panzer Corps, has a loss number of 2, as you can see in the middle there. So that would remain at full strength if it was a hit of 4. There you go. See, that's really clearly explained, isn't it? So I struggled with that, but finally got the hang of it, although the way I've just explained it probably suggests I haven't. So what else to say about the game? Bearing in mind its scope, European Theatre of Operations, the game is remarkably straightforward and easy to play. There's something like 16 pages of rules, none of which are too difficult to grasp. My comments around applying losses notwithstanding. So it's pretty straightforward. That for me is a benefit, that's a positive. I think some of the rules around weather and movement could be slightly better. In the Soviet Union, in the winter, panzers and mechanised units can sort of zip around the board without being impeded. There is a spring thaw part of the spring turns, in which movement or the ability to play operations cards is very limited. So that kind of covers weather, but it doesn't feel quite right to me. However, it is incredibly playable. The other thing I've noticed about this game is it's pretty good value. You can get it in the UK for less than £40 now, so I think that's good going. This was a present to me from my brother, and I'd mentioned that I wanted to get something that was a bit easier to play than my very ancient 3rd or 4th edition of Third Reich. So he surprised me with this, and it's not a game I think I would have bought of my own volition, and that's a real shame. I would have been missing out on a really fun game. The components are pretty decent. Again, my comments around the map notwithstanding, I'm slightly worried about how it will stand up to any kind of rough treatment if you pull it out of the box, but I'm sure with care it will be fine. Components, as I say, pretty good. Interestingly, the playing pieces. One little problem I've noticed is my dodgy video that work there. The playing pieces have like a sheen to them, and they can be quite slippery. And I've had a number of situations where German armies or Soviet fronts have gone skidding across the map, but that's probably my own clumsiness. So it's a good game. I recommend it. Have a go with it. If you get an opportunity to try it, or if you see a copy on eBay, I would endorse it. Give it a go.